Hey everybody, Mark Walters with BigFanboy.com here once again at the Dallas International Film Festival. We are closing in on the end of what has been a very long but very fun week or so of great films, and I'm really glad to have the guys from Kings of Summer. We got Jordan, Moises, and Gabriel here with us, and I loved this film. I'm sure you guys have been hearing a lot of that lately, but I want to reciprocate that as well. You know, it's just you said something last night in the Q&A that pretty much nailed it. It made me think of movies that I watched in my childhood, kind of from the whole Amblin era, you know, very Spielbergian, like The Goonies and things like that. And I imagine that's exactly what you were setting out to do when this whole thing started coming together, was to kind of recapture that era of movie making, right?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for saying that you liked it.
Of course,
we
man.
can never hear that enough. Yeah, no, look, those are the movies that I grew up on, and not just, there's something about that era of movies, and there's a lot of things that went into it, but, you know, and I said this last night, but, like, when you watch those movies, you watched a movie. You watched a film, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it was funny, great. If it had heart, great. If it was heartbreaking, great. That was all icing. But you were watching like a story and characters first and foremost, and you were going on a journey with people. And now, like, it's just movies, I don't know, I think feel small and disposable, and there's nothing really memorable about them. And so those movies they inspired me, and they feel very timeless. And you know, when I got this script, I wanted to sort of tap back into what made those movies great, while still combining it with, you know, sort of our sort of mashup generation, and give it some very contemporary themes as well, without ever dating it.
Yeah. Now, finding these guys, and they're so good in the movie, you guys really play well off of one another. I mean, first of all, what was the process of that? And then also, how did you guys manage to find the chemistry between yourselves? You know, was that just kind of an instantaneous sort of thing that happened, or did you have to work at it? You know, let's talk a little bit about that.
I mean, I was extremely fortunate and lucky to have found these guys, and then for them to be available. You know, I didn't want to cast 25-year-olds. The movie is about teenagers, and I wanted them to feel authentic and real. Not only in terms of looks and physicality, but just in terms of the actual stage of development their brains in. You know, like, where a 25-year-old who's acting in LA is at in life is a totally different place than where, like, a 16 to 18-year-old is at. And so, you know, they all came in and just impressed me, and I cast him off tape, and, you know, they all had their own thing that was great. And I sent them through improv training, not so they'd be super quick and witty and funny, but so they'd be comfortable enough in their own skin that if I didn't yell cut, or if we wanted to change something up on the fly, they would feel comfortable with that. And I think some of our best moments in the movie are things that they brought to it, you know, just by giving them the freedom to really be themselves and to open that up.
Yeah, you guys want to talk a little bit about just kind of playing off of each other and sort of finding the beats that worked for you in the film, because you all seem to have like this great, you know, triangular chemistry that works in the film. That, I mean, you take any one of those elements away, it seems like it would fall apart. But it's so rich. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have to worry too much about Biagio. He was a character that pretty much does whatever comes to his mind. He's incredibly comfortable at being uncomfortable, and I think that you know, obviously throughout the film we developed a relationship. All three of us hung out off set, and we did things together because, hey, we were in the middle of the woods in a retirement home and had pellet guns, and I had just turned 18, so I bought a cigar and had fun with it, and then threw it out because it was too much. So and, you know, we were having a lot of fun in Ohio, just being out in the wilderness. And I'm not going to say it wasn't difficult, because it was definitely one of the hardest productions I've ever been on, and one of the hardest characters I've ever tried to play, because it's hard not to make that character a gimmick, you know, so you feel something for him at the end when, you know, the repercussions happen. And I think that people really enjoy my character, enjoy the film. Really, I hope people appreciate how much work Jordan put into it, and his work with the DP and the writer. You know, Chris and Ross are incredibly talented, and these guys are talented, and the adults that we got to work with are probably one of the most funny, most quick people I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real pleasure to work with these guys. You know, it wasn't really that hard to build chemistry because they were also laid back and chill just to talk to and be friends with. Props to Jordan, though, for making the the environment on set conducive to like a chemistry, you know, to fun chemistry in which we could grow and you know, really become friends. Because there have been sets that I've been on, you know, that are strict, and of course you treat them like business, and then there's sets like this where you just are given that freedom, you know, to hang out and be friends with the guys, but at the same time work really hard. And it took a lot of effort from all of us to put this film together and make it what it is. And I'm glad that, you know, people are receiving it as well as they have been.
Yeah, it's you know, look, with the movie, we have incredible comedians and incredible actors, Nick Offerman and Alison Brie and Megan Mullally, and just some of the best stand-ups and improvisers that you'll be knowing about in the next couple of years are in this movie. But it lives and dies by these kids.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be enough for just Moises or just Gabe or just Nick Robinson to be good. Like, all of them had to be great. In the same way, when you watch Stand By Me, every one of those, or Goonies or whatever, every one of those kids is great. And then you're able to choose who your favorite character is. And, you know, Gabe sort of talked about it, but like, and we joke around about it now, but like, I made this weird decision on set of being like, don't view me as your boss. Like, I was a kid once too. And so we just like, you know, which just kind of led to us goofing around. And like, you know, it wasn't a buttoned up atmosphere. Like, you know, I'd be like setting up a shot and one of these guys would run up and punch me in the arm, you know?
Yeah, that actually does bring up something I wanted to talk about, the arm punching sequence. Because I think, you know, we've all done that, like, at some point when we were kids, but I mean, that looks pretty intense. You know, maybe just because the way you shot it, but it really...
We can play real quick.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, man. I mean, you want to...
Did you guys, oh yeah, go for it, yeah. Now's the time, yeah. Did you guys, like, was that...
That was happening a lot on
takes?
set. Well, no, there wasn't a lot of takes of that, but by the time we shot that was pretty close to the end, and I don't know how Dead Arm got started. It happened, and there are pictures of me throughout the shoot where my arm is just black.
Because of these guys?
Yeah, because of these guys, and it was just this thing. It turned into this thing we were constantly doing, and it was just like regressing. You know, like there's nothing more immature than playing Dead Arm and punching your friend in the arm, and it's just like, that's what we all got into doing. And like, that's not in the script at all. You know, the fact that they punch each other in the arm, we just had that camera, the Phantom, which is that slow-mo camera, and I was just shooting all this crazy stuff with them. And it's like, why wouldn't we've been playing Dead Arm this entire shoot, why would we not actually capture it?
Exactly.
And, you know, it's like those little small moments in the movie that's like, oh, I know exactly what that is. You know, like, where it's like, you're not telling a bigger story, it's just a little thing of like, that right there is like pure teenage boy.
Well, and I love the sequence when you guys dive off the cliff because, and it became not just a signature shot of the movie, it's now the poster of the movie. And in a lot of ways, I think it is very symbolic, sort of the story of the movie, of being able to take that leap and do something that most people talk about but never actually have the guts to try it. And, you know, that particular day when you guys took that dive, what's going through your head in that moment?
That day was crazy, man. Because that day in the morning we shot the fantasy sequence with like Offerman and the sighs when he jumps off the cliff. Then we shot the boating sequence with him and the other dad. Then we went to the cliff to shoot that stuff. And then that night we had like some other night thing to do. So that was like a crazy day in general. But I mean, props to Moises. Like I made him jump off that cliff like 6 or 7 times. And he went head first every time. Yeah, no, and that is a deep drop.
We talked about it and just clear it up. The other two, like Gabe and Nick jumped. I dove. I think
he did have a boot on.
Yeah, it's true. No, but I spoke to Jordan. I was like, you know, we both had thought that Biagio, being who he is, would go that extra mile to, you know, just do something.
The other thing that I love about that is like, yeah, you do that extra mile, you go there, but no one comments on the fact that you're basically wearing a wetsuit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's your swimsuit. No one brings that up.
Because he would.
Yeah, he would. Exactly. He would take that shit real seriously.
I remember we were first like warming up to like jump off the cliff, and Nick and I were there, and someone, I think Nick, dared me to like flip, you know, off the thing, and I went to flip and I over-rotated, and it's like a 26-foot drop, and I hit my chest and I was like coughing up blood for like 5-10 minutes. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was just stupid. Like,
some safety concerns on the set, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we were always safe, but like after that day I went and jumped off the same thing that they jumped off of, and it really was like, It's a hell of a drop, and it really was like, it was that jumping off that thing was the process of making the movie, which is just like that moment of holy shit, and then it's like everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Everything will be fine.
The last thing I want to ask you guys about is, I mean, you're no stranger to the film festival circuit, but being here in Dallas and being able to bring this thing to the Texas audience and everything, how's that experience been for you? And you know, what are you going to take away from Dallas when you leave here?
I mean, I love Dallas. I've been here before. My buddy has a house here, and I fell in love with it. And look, to be able to premiere at Sundance is a dream and amazing, and I can't think of a better place to be able to play our movie. But to be able to come to places like this, like the audience last night was amazing. You know, and
everybody stayed.
Everybody stayed. Like normally
left.
at Q&As, like half the audience will empty out, and like. And I don't even think they knew that they were there. And like you could just, when I brought these two down, like the energy and the excitement was just palpable. Like it was one of the best. It's great being here. Like this is such a wonderful festival, and it really was like one of our best screenings that we've had. So I'm having a blast.
And what do you guys feel like when you watch this movie with an audience? Like last night, you were sitting there watching the whole thing. Is it a little nerve-wracking, or at the same time, is it more gratifying to see the reactions that everybody has to it?
I mean, we got lucky enough that the two screenings, at least that I've been to, have been great.
Yeah.
The response has been nothing but positive, and it's definitely gratifying. I mean, you're glad to see people enjoy the hard work and time you put into it. I can't imagine how Jordan feels, you know, putting literally everything he had in him and to finish this project. And just as an actor, like, people believe and actually care for the character, my character Biagio, even though he's one of the weirdest
we've all known somebody
people you could come across. So I'm excited to have people's reactions on this film.
Yeah, it's always in the back of your mind when you're making the film, like how people will enjoy it, you know. And it's just been a real pleasure to see how much our film has done for people and how much they enjoy it. You know, and it's interesting to see, like, jokes that we laugh at on set don't land with the audience. You know, they'll laugh at different parts, and it's just interesting to see, you know, what they find entertaining. And it is nerve-wracking to a certain extent. Like, will this play? You know, it is nerve-wracking, but it's just a pleasure to see it with a live audience and experience what they're feeling. You know, and it's different because I've seen it multiple times. And every audience has had a different reaction to it, and it's just a pleasure to like experience that with them, and it heightens the experience of watching the film.
Yeah, movie is Kings of Summer, and if you haven't had a chance to check it out, please check out dallasfilm.org for more information. Jordan, Moises, Gabriel, thank you so much for bringing this thing here, and it really is one of the treats of the festival, I think.
Thank you. We are honored to be here.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.